We are the strongest, most powerful nation on earth, and yet we don't respond with our might when one of our children is murdered. We've established a foundation in JonBenet's name to honor her and to leave a legacy for her, and the profits from the book will go to the foundation. The foundation is going to focus on protecting children against predators.
So there is one more video that I did want to talk about, and we looked over at this a little bit, coming from the Ashley Flowers Crime Junkie podcast, the one that's about 3 hours long, not the one with John, but it's another one that she did that's like 3 hours long. It's like really good. She has a lot of information in it, but this video kind of comes from that, and apparently this video is a video of John and Patsy, and John and Patsy John gave her a bunch of tapes to look through, and one of these, this is apparently a tape that they are kind of getting ready for a press release, like press release practice with their book. And so in this, I kind of noted that John and Patsy, for the most part where they weren't in sync with one another, seemed sort of annoyed with one another, kind of side-eyeing each other and not really forming connecting thoughts on the tragedy and stuff like that, connecting thoughts to the tragedy, and just kind of all over the place, which is kind of consistent with John and Patsy. We talked about an example where Patsy was talking about the nobody believes in the American family anymore in relation to JonBenet. It's like, what does that have to do with JonBenet, other than the fact that you're talking about your family? So here we go.
Okay. One. That's it. You have written a very thorough and...
That's Patsy being funny. She's saying 1, 2, 3. I think that's funny.
Okay. One. That's it. You have written a very thorough and interesting book. What do you intend to do with the profits? If that's not too personal a question.
Should I always wait for Patsy to answer, or should I just...
No, just if I'm looking at you.
Okay. Well, we've established a foundation in JonBenet's name to honor her and to leave a legacy for her, and the profits from the book will go to the foundation. The foundation is going to focus on protecting children against predators.
Is that? I guess that's it then. I don't know. It just sort of leaves me hanging here. I mean, that's a very generous and good thing for you to do. Is it? How will you know how to protect children against predators? I mean, how will you use the money to do that?
But we've seen a number of flaws in our system as it relates to the murder of a child. We are the strongest, most powerful nation on earth, and yet we don't respond with our might when one of our children is murdered. That's wrong.
Foreign faction. Foreign faction. We are a powerful nation, but we don't respond when one of our children, with our might, with our power, when one of our children are hurt. John, we're not going to war with other nations. It's just a local kidnapping. Well, we're not bringing out the entire military to capture one dude. That's what we have local agencies for. The local agency can't do it. You appeal to higher powers, the FBI, but we're not bringing the entire U.S. military to bear over something like this. It's never going to happen. Now, if somebody had attacked us and killed our children, as well as other civilians, then yeah, we would probably respond like that. But in the way you're talking, foreign faction. A small foreign faction is what that sounds like.
We want to advocate change.
Would it be possible for you to cite some of the cases that you're talking about other than your own?
One of the best examples that we have learned about through all
I don't know why John gets so mad at Patsy when she talks.
The cases that you're talking about other than your own?
one of the best examples that we have learned about through all of this is that when your child's photograph is taken at school or at church or in any kind of activity, dance recitals, piano recitals, that photograph becomes the property of the photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And he or she may publish that photograph at any time, any place that they so choose without your permission.
So for instance,
They
He's trying to throw shade at Judith Phillips is what she's doing. He's trying to throw shade at Judith because she tried to stop Judith from publishing the pictures of JonBenet that she took. And Judith had her sign a document, a release form. Every photographer does that. But, the Ramseys can't let that go.
on the copyright.
well, what danger can happen if you have a picture of
Your
your child
child's
playing a violin?
photograph is someplace and someone who has reason to want to zero in on that child and do harm to that child. That is a bad thing.
So are you associating that with your own tragedy? Are you saying that there were so many photographs of JonBenet because of the work that she did in pageants that could have incited something?
I'm saying that is an example of one way that we do not need to put our children out there in newspaper articles, and the photographs should be for family memories, not for public release.
This coming from people who, in their own right, released pictures of JonBenet, gave photos of JonBenet to the press, family photos, single photos, otherwise, or individual portraits, otherwise. Recently, obviously, to Netflix for the documentary and to other, documentary or creators and directors. Not only that, this video in and of itself was given to Crime Junkie Podcast to use. So you're releasing these documents to people consistently. Again, like I said, sort of like aloof, and sort of just misguided. What does this apply to? You can't just start talking and be like, well, what I've learned is that people can take your pictures. Yes, but what does it apply to? Right? You guys are trying to go to battle. You're trying to get the military involved. You're trying to go to war with people and keep your pictures and don't mess with me. We're going to bring arms to bear. But for what? What's the point? There is no real point. There doesn't need to be a real point because you're not chasing anybody. You're chasing a ghost that doesn't exist. That's what you're doing. Because if y'all truly had a purpose in mind, it would have been, this is what would happen. If you truly had a purpose in mind, you would have said, we have been looking at laws, and what we notice is that there's this. We don't have this. And John's going to touch a little bit on it. But straight out of the gate, there's these things that we want to touch on, and this is what this foundation is for. I've hired people for this. I've hired people for this. This is what we have. But there seems to be a lot of disorganized behavior, a lot of disorganized language, in that they say one thing to try to do all of the things that you should do, but it falls flat. We should establish an organization or a foundation for our daughter, yes, but the way you run it falls flat, and it's kind of haphazard because you're not really putting all of your heart and soul into this, right? Because you have no reason. When you don't have if your daughter was truly kidnapped and murdered in the way that she was, Every single day you wake up, I'm going to this foundation. I'm taking calls. I'm talking to people. I'm writing newsletters. And you ask why? Why are you? Some people become so consumed with finding the person or the perpetrator who has done something, like they become so consumed. This is all they do. This is all their life. And people have to tell them, you have to stop and grieve, or you have to stop. You cannot let this consume you. You have to go back to living, because all they do is talk about it. All they do is consume themselves with news articles. All they do is consume themselves with talking about the case. And that would play through if Patsy and John were really truly concerned about this, like that, to that level. That would come through in the foundation. Patsy's a stay-at-home mom. She would be hungry. And essentially, John's a stay-at-home dad as well. He ain't working. They would be consumed with this case to the point to where when you ask them this, it wouldn't be whether or not they have something to say. It would be, okay, leave this out, say this, say more of this. Let's talk more to that point. You have too much to say. Let's cut it. This is all good information. Let's cut it. Because they would have gone and done their research. But as it stands, it don't look like they've gone and done any research. They saw a couple things that people told them that they could talk about, and then that's what they did. But there's no follow-up because there's potentially no real kidnapping.
Well, and most important, when a child is murdered in this country, we need to respond with the best we have to find the killer. That does two things. It sends a message that...
And I almost feel like he undermined Patsy. When she said, because she stated her point, he talked, and then she stated her point, and then he comes back and says, most importantly. Why is Patsy's point not important?
When a child is murdered in this country, we need to respond with the best we have to find the killer. That does two things. It sends a message that we're not going to tolerate it. And if you think about harming our children, you better think twice. And secondly, it ensures that we capture these monsters before they kill again.
I don't doubt that you have beneficent and wonderful feelings about doing this kind of thing, but how would you go about protecting a child against the perpetrator?
I would advocate that the murder of a child be the most serious offense in our society. It should be a federal crime to murder a child in this country.
And once the murderer is found, he should be given a life sentence.
He should be put away forever. That's the most horrible thing a human being can do, is to prey on a child.
So just take him to jail. Just send him to jail, which is what... It's murder. They're going to do that anyway, John. We should bring everything that we have. John, they would if they were able to find the person who did this. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen when they find this person? What do you think is going to happen? You think they're just going to be like, oh, you know what? I don't think I want to do anything. Just leave it alone. John, when they find the person who has done this, that person is going to jail. Prison. That's going to happen anyway. That was meaningless for you to say. Unless we're going to completely take this person off the face of the earth by lethal injection or otherwise. They're going to get the same treatment that anybody else gets when a homicide is committed. That's what we have laws for, centered around this. So you're just blowing smoke.
Okay, what I'm getting at is, I think the wonderful and very generous thing to do to donate the profits of your book to such a cause. I don't know how you're going to implement it and how you're going to make it happen. I just wondering about
Through educational awareness, through legislation, they're all...
Have you done any of that yet?
No.
No.
Patsy seems uninterested. She seems preoccupied with other things. I know she's answering and she's there, but she seems preoccupied by other stuff.
All right.
Hasn't a foundation already been set up? I mean, I heard you say earlier.
Well, we can offer rewards, substantial rewards for information. We can establish a tip center, an information center. We can establish databases that track known child offenders. We can put experts in place, make experts available to local law enforcement. We can advocate in the United States Congress that the murder of a child should be mandated as a federal crime. Federal resources should be put on attacking that.
But so far you haven't done anything like that.
No.
Let me say it again for the thick-skulled individuals. John, the FBI was there. What are you not getting? How many people have to tell you the FBI was there? What do we have to say? Do we have to put it in subtitles or something? The FBI was there. We told you through the cops. We told you through journalism. Like, I don't know. The FBI themselves said they were there. I don't understand how much clearer we could be in saying the FBI was there. What was happening in your case did not fall under FBI jurisdiction, and there is a reason for that. Because the FBI is not a secondary police department. The FBI is not a federal police department to where we can say we have two police departments in the state of Colorado. That's not what that's for. They're designed to stay on a federal level and let local departments handle stuff like what we're talking about. If JonBenet, and I think it was like this 1932 Lindbergh law, in which it was like, if we cross over state lines, I think it was, or something like that, if I'm correct. Could be wrong. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But if you cross over state lines, then yes, now we have a problem that brings in the federal. Or if you make terroristic threats, then yes, now we have a problem that warrants federal involvement. But until then, the federal agencies are happy to assist you in just simply saying, okay, this is what we think it is. We will analyze, we'll do profile analysis. John Douglas, I think at some point in time, Greg McCrary, but Ron Walker initially in the first to say, hey, this is what's happening. Let it go. The FBI was there.
Nor has anyone else. We're going to try. We're going to do the best we can. Because it's a horrible flaw in our system. We respond aggressively when a bank is robbed. The FBI comes in. It's a federal crime. It's major. Do we care more about our money than we do our children?
Maybe. I don't know. But anyways, that was a quick hit. I just wanted to kind of go through that one. That was very interesting. Like I said before, you can find this on Ashley Flowers Crime Junkie podcast. It's on her website. But let me know what you think. In comments, like, share, subscribe. And until next time, thank you for support. Take it easy.